Hey guys, welcome back, and I hope you enjoyed the jam track there. What you heard was a variety of different routing options and just ways that you can utilize this Friedman pedal. It started off with just the Friedman with its own built-in impulse responses, and then I transitioned into the Quad Cortex using only the impulse loaders block for that. I used one block has impulse responses and the other has the actual Neural DSP cabinet simulation. So I used both of those, and then I finished up with the Fryette power station running into the Splawn 412 cabinet, mic'd up going to the interface. So we're going to kind of break down how everything is set up here and kind of listen to the sounds of all of this stuff isolated without any of the backing track stuff going on. Okay, now for the setup here, I've got the Explorer going into the Golden Boy, into the IRJ, and then it's going into the Quad Cortex. Now the Quad Cortex is set up with an impulse response block and a cabinet simulation block, as well as a reverb and a delay block, and that's the only thing that it's doing. There's no EQing or any kind of supplemental boost or any other amplification block or anything like that going on. It's mainly there just to load impulses and some light effects, and also to facilitate the routing here. So the way that I've got the outputs going, I've got the stereo left and right going into the interface, and that's going to give you the sound of both the Friedman itself, which would run through there and bypass all of the impulse responses and all that stuff, just going straight into the effects and then out left and right into the interface. The other way that I'm running this is I'll disable the impulse response on the Friedman, and then I'll activate one or the other of the two speaker simulation blocks that I have on here. And I can flip-flop back between that. I have one button set up to toggle on and off so I can switch back and forth. And then finally, there's another output line out going into the line in of the power station. And what I do is I'll disable the speaker simulation on here and just run the raw DI signal of the Friedman into the power station and then into the cabinet and then into the interface. So all that is kind of the Quad Cortex is basically just kind of like a glorified splitter that adds some effects and speaker simulation. And it's kind of the easiest way that I could figure out to facilitate doing all this stuff without just lots of cable swapping. I didn't want to do all that for the jam track. I wanted it kind of as seamless as it could be going between the different types of sounds that you heard. So anyways, I'm going to shut up now and I'm going to play, and I'm going to, let's see, we've got the impulse is back on here, and after I go through all this, we're also going to take a look at the software for the Friedman, because there are some cool things in there that you don't get access to on the pedal itself, namely a ton of really great sounding impulse responses, as well as a dedicated bright setting and a deep setting and a low cut that don't do the same sounds to the pedal as these this bright switch here and this bright switch there. It's kind of like a different bright frequency. So we'll go through that at the end of the video. So let's get going here. This is just the Friedman and a little bit of reverb. I'm going to go hop over to the software just for a second and take a look and see what impulse I'm actually using here. All right, it's the black back cabinet that I was using for the first video. So, yeah, here we go. This is the black back impulse response and just the pedal itself with a little bit of reverb coming from the Quad Cortex. All right, I'm going to kill the Friedman's impulse in this running now, and we're going to check out the first impulse response on the Quad Cortex. Yeah. All right. Okay, so you can't see the screen here, but basically what I'm using is the I'm using two of the Ownhammer impulses blended together from the it's from the Appetite for Destruction / Marshall 412 pack that they have. The first one that I'm using is the raw D57M-05, and the second one is the raw D58-05. And blended together, they're both about 50-50 blend, and they sound like this. I'll tell you what, this is the first one. This is the D57M isolated. And this is the D58 isolated. And the other one back in there. All right, now I'm going to switch over to the actual cabinet simulation block that comes with the Quad Cortex. And this is the British TV GB 75Hz 69 stereo cabinet. Mouthful, but it's basically the greenback, 75 Hertz greenbacks. And I've got a SM57 and a 421 on there, and it's blended about 50-50. This is what it sounds like. All right, so the cabinet is disabled there. It's just the Friedman, no impulse, and we're going to go over. I'm going to mute this this signal so that I don't hear just the raw Friedman, and just listen to the microphones from the cabinet and the power station. Okay, yeah. So during the backing track, I actually did have to hear both the microphones from the cabinet as well as the raw unimpulsed signal from the Friedman, kind of both at the same time. It was really loud and it sounded really gross, especially with that unspeaker simulated sound. It was gross. But anyways, we've got that muted, so all we are going to hear is the glorious sound of a cranked up 50-watt tube amp and a 412 ripping in the closet, and the Friedman. you what, I'm going to go to the low gain setting. Little delay from the Quad Cortex. I haven't actually tried boosting it with the drive boost in the Quad Cortex because it comes after the Friedman, but I'm curious. It's gonna be an experience for both of us. Okay, not gonna do that. We're done. Okay, let's take a look at the software and we will get this video wrapped up. All right, well, we are in the software now, and what you're seeing is basically a physical representation on the screen of the IRJ, and we have both of our channels here, and as you can see, there are some extra little controls here. We've got a presence control, we've got a thumb control, and then we've also got a low pass, and below that we have our 3 impulse response slots, as well as the ability to click on a folder if we want to add our own impulses. You know what? Let's add one of those impulses that I was using on the Quad Cortex. All right, that is loaded in there, and if we click on it, we should be able to take a listen. Oh, that's good. Let's go back to the one we were using before. Very good sounding impulse right there. Let's go back up to this one. All right, well, let's go ahead and audition some of these things. Black back. EVM 12L, we've already heard that one. That's kind of that pokey upper mid-range. EV30. I really like that one too. Like, all of these impulses in here are very, very good. Carefully curated selection here. And once you click the little arrow, you'll see the description before you hear it. It takes a second to load the impulse into the unit itself. The bare wood cabinet. That one does, like the description says, it does have kind of a big sound, but it's got a weird top end that I'm not really a fan of. You can tell that's a much smaller cabinet. It kind of narrowed itself down. Was just okay too. It had something going on in the upper mids. I like the big low end on that, but the top end is way too rolled off. I think if you hit it with an EQ to bring the top end up a little bit more. It's not that bad. Take this low pass filter. Go to the next one. Crane back. There's that EV upper mid-range that I don't really like. Mesa Vintage 30. That one kind of sounds like it's got a little phasey thing going on, but it probably is because they're using two speakers. I don't know. I'm trying to make them one impulse. I have no idea how impulses are made, so. And we're back to the one that came factory loaded for this slot. So those are the impulse responses, and again, load your own. That sounds really good. Let's go ahead, and you kind of got a little taste of what these extra controls do, but let's check out the presence. It comes default out of the box with all of these set to the middle position. So this is the middle presence position. like that, but you guys know by now, I like dialing my stuff in a little bit on the bright side, just to cut through a little bit better on stage. Thump. Now this one is pretty powerful and a bit over the top for the sounds that I'm going for. But let's go ahead and hear the third thump setting. It added a lot of low end, but it's not undefined. Let's hit the boost. There we go. Clip it on. While I've got the boost on, let me show you the boost lock. Now, what this does is it basically keeps the boost on going from channel to channel. What I thought it did, based on the description, was remember that you had the boost on one channel, but if you had it off on the other channel, it would turn off. But then if you switch back to the first channel where you had it activated, it would reactivate. But instead, what this does is it keeps the boost on for both channels. So I kind of wish that the boost lock actually locked it into just the channel that you're using, and that it would recall the boost back when you came back to that channel. But again, like I said in my first video, I believe that if you have a MIDI controller, you can probably program it to do that, because MIDI's awesome like that. So, all right, let's go to the low pass filter and hear that. So again, this is the default setting. Putting a bit more low end through there. A little bit more. Thump back in the middle. Yeah, if you want a really aggressive cut, that's cutting pretty hard right there. Let me turn the bass up on the pedal itself. And let me go to the high gain setting. Oh, I am. Let's hit the boost again. Well, that is going to be a closer look at the Friedman IR-J the software, and as you saw earlier, various different ways that you can operate it if you have your own impulse response loader, if you have a multi-effects unit that you want to use both for effects as well as impulses or speaker simulation or anything like that, or you want to run it into a dedicated power amp and physical cabinet, you can do all of that. If you have the right kind of effects unit that can split the signals in specific ways, you can facilitate both, where you can run a simulated cabinet simulation. You can run a cabinet simulation out to the house, and then you can run your unprocessed signals straight into your power amp and cabinet or guitar head effects return on stage, kind of for the best of both worlds. So again, just a very, very good product, a good foundational, like high gain rock sound. And the first channel on this thing has a really good medium gain crunch, kind of cleanish sound that it can dish up. So you got a lot of flexibility out of just the pedal itself. On its own, it sounds good. The impulses are all outstanding. There's a ton of great sounds in here, and with just a basic little like reverb and delay pedal or something like that, you've got a very, very compact rock setup that you can run straight into the house or an FR and just kind of be ready to go. And the ability to disable the impulse response and send it to some other things really kind of expands on the capabilities of what at its foundation is a great core sound. So again, I'm really happy with every way that I've run this. But there's one more thing. I've got a neural capture of this thing, and we're going to listen to it now. All right, so this is a neural capture of the IRJ. This capture in particular has the impulse on the pedal disabled. The reason that I did that was because if you're using the Quad Cortex, or even the Nano Cortex for that matter, there are different ways that you can use this that if it had the impulse built in, it would really limit the flexibility of this capture. So for that reason, the way that you can use this is you can use your own impulses in a block in the Quad Cortex. You can use the built-in cabinet simulation and pick whatever cabinet you want to use, and or you can send it direct out into a power amp and 412 or whatever cabinet you have on stage for kind of the full big amplified sound. So here we go, and I will have a link to the capture in the video description, so you can find it there. Hit me up on the Quad Cortex and check out the rest of my captures. It's always expanding with any new products that I get, so this is what the sound that I've gotten from this Friedman sounds like. And again, it is using the Ownhammer impulses that I showed earlier. All right, well, I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for sticking around. And again, if you haven't subscribed, help the channel grow, help me get out there to more people and get more attention from these product developers so that maybe they'll start sending me this stuff without me having to come out of pocket for it. So yeah, thanks for hanging out with me. And if you like it, share it with somebody. And if you're interested in buying one of these, I will have a link to the product on Zound's website. It's an affiliate link, and it doesn't cost you guys anything extra to use those links, but it does help. The channel helps me a little kickback. It's not much, but again, there's strength in numbers, and every little bit helps. That's one reason why I was able to get this Quad Cortex capture for you guys. It really does help. They add up. So yeah, check that out. Check out the description for all the information that you might have questions about. And if you got any other questions or comments, see me in the comments section. We'll talk about this thing. Talk about whatever. See y'all. Take care. Bye.